seeing some smiles on some faces. Kids seem to be back into the confidence of what they're being asked to do.
Durante Jones shared that at the beginning of camp, as he's getting his arms around the talent that he has on defense, they just had one play in one practice where everything went to plan. Everybody did their job. And he said that was the aha moment. The guys started looking around and said, you know what, we are pretty good. We do have a lot of talent on this defense. Now we have to go and show it in the SEC.
Well, it's so interesting you say that, because that one play, right, you take that play and you put it on tape, you put your entire defense in the defensive snap room. You put that thing up and you go position by position and you point out why everything worked. You did what you were coached to do, you were where you were supposed to be, your technique was how it is being taught, and look what happens. It gives you this great coaching moment as you take a look at some of the stops there for Durante Jones. And again, that familiarity. Dave Aranda, very successful here as a defensive coordinator prior to becoming the head coach at Baylor. He was one of the guys that Ed Orgeron called, recommended Durante Jones. They worked together with each other at Wisconsin. So that familiarity and confidence, whether it was your scheme, terminology, how you're going to coach the defense. And don't kid yourself, Jay. I mean, Ed Orgeron told him point blank, I'm going to be involved in the defense. Are you okay with that? And he said, I'm a front guy. Durante Jones is a back end guy. That's not really where my expertise is. And they all seem to come to an agreement.
Ed Orgeron did joke with us. He said, by the way, you're going to have your head coach peeping in on the defensive line. And Jones said, no problem at all. Ed Orgeron, one of the best defensive line coaches in the entire country, one of the best minds on the defensive side of the football. So to have that as a first-time defensive coordinator is actually a big boost for Jones.
No, I think that players like it when the head coach is intimately involved in the coaching of a position or the overseeing of a position. No different than Nick Saban in the secondary, with Ed Orgeron, it's in the front. You're engaged with those kids on a daily basis. You're not just walking around overseeing things. I think players respect that. They know they're getting one-on-one, hands-on training from the guy whose record goes next to his name. And I think that's a healthy thing.
Defensive coordinator Coach Jones. I asked him who is one of the most improved players this spring, and he mentioned Damone Clark. And when I talked to Damone Clark, he said, man, Coach Jones has really been helping me to be great. When I first met him, I told him that I want to be great, and ever since then he's been pushing me to take that next step. And he says that Damone sees the improvements within himself.
Marisha, great stuff there. What a throw that was, with plenty of people. Max Johnson steps up and heaves one to the end zone for a touchdown. Take another look at this.
Yeah, and he finds Kirkland there, number 13, just over the outstretched arms of the defender there, number 6 in the back end, and Derek Davis, who's a freshman out of Pennsylvania for LSU. We saw this in the first quarter in the first few drives for Max Johnson. Under duress, people in his face, doesn't let his eyes come down, climbs the pocket, keeps the focus downfield where it needs to be, and delivers the strike.
Pass interference defense.
Here we are praising the defense, and they've been great. Even got great pressure in on that play, and I think if you're able to hit the quarterback, maybe they come up with the sack, but Johnson steps up, heaves one to the end zone, and that'll be good for him to see too, because in his first couple of drives, Tom, there was just something missing there. We didn't see the same flashes that we saw in the Swamp when he was a 27-point underdog and gets the win against Florida in his first start last fall.
But we saw the same poise. I think that's one thing to note, is the poise that we saw on the road in the Swamp, the poise we saw against Ole Miss. You're seeing that today too. People in your face, navigating the pocket, trusting what's in front of you. That's just an innate sense of instincts that Max Johnson has.
On a 3rd and 19, dials up a touchdown throw to put purple on the board. By the way, you're seeing an absolutely terrific performance by Jontre Kirkland. That his 12th catch, now a touchdown, 111 total yards. You were talking about the wide receiver depth chart after Keishawn Boutte. Well, maybe Jontre Kirkland can get into that mix.
Yeah, and he's playing both sides here. He just took his purple jersey off, putting the white jersey on, and now he's got to go play for the other team. So he's getting all the reps he can take, as we talked about having to identify who's going to be the other playmakers around the established Keishon Butte. As we look at the numbers here, Jay, kind of what you'd expect. This has been the competition, right? I mean, look at 7 of 12, 6 of 12, 8 of 14, 11 of 15. This is why this has been such a strong four-man competition. It's not like, two guys are laying an egg and other two are just jumping to the forefront. They're all kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, 4 guys all competing to be the starter here at LSU. There's no front runner. There's choice for Ed Orgeron. I'm just impressed on how they got all 4 of these guys to stay, because in the world of college football, really the world of college athletics, the transfer portal is so hot. How did they convince 4 guys to all try and compete for a starting position?
Miles Brennan getting hurt, because had he not been hurt, he was really starting to get hot. Had that monster game versus Missouri, goes down, season-ending injury, and now there's not an established starter. LSU's not going into spring football with a guy that played 11, 12 games. Instead, they're going into spring football with a guy that started 5 games in TJ Finley right there, big number 11, 2 games, and a 2-0 record for Max Johnson, and then the first 3 games, of course, with Miles Brennan and Garrett Nussmeier as a true freshman. So without an established starter, why would you not return? You got an extra year of eligibility that was afforded to everybody a year ago, and you've got an open competition with no front runner. I applaud these kids. Now, is that going to be a problem that's going to arise? Absolutely. But you know what? You deal with that when you have to deal with that, and that's not right now.
You started the show today before we saw anybody take the field saying this is probably the best quarterback room in college football. It was kind of a statement that I wanted to return to. What makes you say that? Because a lot of people would say, well, they don't have a clear starter. How good could it be? Well, they do have 4 guys all capable of it, right?
Sure. So you've got 4 players, scholarship players on the roster at one time. We're in the transfer portal era. That's darn near impossible to accomplish. So they've got that right now. And I say that in terms of talent. I look at physical ability. I look at production. I look at snaps. Did you play some meaningful snaps? All right, outside of Garrett Nussmeier, all of these guys have played meaningful snaps. Miles Brennan's been in this offense already, okay? If I were to take that comment I made about the strongest overall quarterback room in college football, and I were to now look at Ohio State. Ohio State has 2 players, all right? C.J. Stroud, Jack Miller, and a third incoming player in Kyle McCord. Not one of those players has attempted a pass in a college football game. Not one single pass in a college football game. So it's a rare room to have in today's college football climate, and it is a great problem to have, and very few people have it.
And the other thing is, right now, they've got committed in the class of 2022, the number 2 quarterback according to our ESPN 300, Walker Howard, from Lafayette, Louisiana. So that'll add another dimension to this quarterback room.
Yep, and really athletic too. And again, by the time that comes around, the likelihood that one or more of these 4 not being within this program at that time is probable. I mean, that's the reality of the situation in the world that we're living in right now. Because I think the transfer portal is a quarterback portal. It's really, I mean, you're not seeing a ton of players moving into the transfer portal that are being picked up everywhere else, that are playing in multiple positions and having major impacts at other schools. But the quarterback is a position that's always needed. So people are going to fish the portal for quarterbacks.
Right now it's Max Johnson in, the sophomore out of Athens, Georgia, the nephew of Mark Richt. His father, Brad, played 15 years in the NFL, won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. Quarterback keeper. This is just unfair. You can't hit the guy. That's a free first down for Max Johnson.
Yet he's moving so fast as if he might just get popped.
Who's the most athletic of these 4?
Garrett Nussmeier. But he's also the smallest in terms of dimensions. His measurables are going to be more in the Baker Baker Mayfield, type of mold, a Tua type of mold, more in the 6 foot type guy, where these other kids are, 6'4", 6'4", and 6'6". And if Garrett's 6'2", then he's grown 2 inches since I saw him last.
And 172 pounds. He's yet to hit a college weight room, whereas Finley's
That's right.
242, Johnson's 220, Brennan's 210. What's great
Look at
about
that throw.
Nussmeier is that terrific throw by Johnson. Take another look at this. This is right on the money from the sophomore.
And again, Jontre Kirkland, who we just saw catch a touchdown, seeming to kind of emerge as maybe being that other guy opposite Keyshawn Boutte. Another. Look at him just drop this right in the bucket. Wow. It's really the only place the ball could be placed. Really, really well done. Poised, in the pocket, balanced. Great shot right there. See, when I talked about ball placement, putting the ball where your guy can get it and not have to make an adjustment, those 2 throws right there are exactly what I'm referring to.
Plenty of time again for Johnson, and he's right on the money on this drive. 3 straight completions, 2 of them to Jontre Kirkland, and that one for a touchdown.
It's really smooth and in rhythm. Look at Max just dropped this one right there. And again, does he have to make an adjustment? Nope. Walks and runs. That accuracy, it's all being documented too. And when you're in a quarterback competition, every single thing you do is going to be scrutinized.
Yeah, 3:13 to go in the third quarter. Max Johnson's thrown the last